And good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, near or far, high or low. Listeners, welcome back to the Coach D podcast. And we have a very special guest that I have honestly the privilege of welcoming in the studio with me today. Honestly, I'm excited to have Ruchae Walton join us. She is a standout talent with an incredible journey. Honestly, she's been dominating at Charnwood College and being named Women's College Academy Basketball Player of the Year. She made her. She's honestly been making her mark in college basketball at Portland State and achieving history, which we're definitely going to dive into with the London Lions having an unbelievable season, EuroCup champions as well. In addition, she has served as a manager for the London Lions. So get ready to hear insights on the preparation, mindset and resilience it takes to reach the top, along with advice for the next generation of athletes. Listeners, please give a warm welcome to Ruchae Walton. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Happy to be here. Excited.
Thank you. Honestly, just before we get started, I know today for you is super busy, the life of a GM and even just what you do outside of basketball, because I know you're big on the nutrition, the health and injury prevention. Before we get started on just your career and where you are today, how is your physical and how is your mental?
My physical is good. I'm feeling really good shape. Probably the best shape of my life at the moment, actually. For the first time in a long time, I'm in control. And that's, I think I'm really happy with where I'm at the moment, physically. And mentally, just driving to better every day. And the physical obviously played a massive part of that, but yeah, I'm growing in confidence in what I do and how passionate I am about what I do, in everything that I do, actually. So yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Nice. And just with regards to where was you? Was you at school? Was it like in like your garden or a neighborhood park or?
So I was born in Barbados, and I used to swim actually, and then and we left the island when I was like 8. We moved to the UK.
Okay.
Because my stepdad had a pro job playing basketball. So that's why we moved. And then he also coached on the side, and I just went to the session. I basically just followed him around. I was in his pocket everywhere. So it was almost inevitable that I would play and I wouldn't have a love for the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just grew up playing, and there was no kind of doubt that what I was going to do. Obviously, I played football. Everyone plays football there, and I was in England. And then I believe I was year 9. You're not year 10, so yeah, basketball's it. Like, I'm gonna take this seriously. And so yeah, that's kind of how it started. But definitely it was a Friday night. He used to host Friday night sessions. So I think how old we were. We weren't very old, probably like under 14, under 13 like sessions, Friday night sessions. Me and all the boys, of course. And that's really where it began. Yes, in St. Bream, Milton Keynes.
Kind of paint the picture, like what was the basketball scene like back then? Because even for me, when I started it in 2008, more so coaching, the NBA would make regular visits to the UK, and it definitely wasn't where it is now, just in terms of the basketball, the league structure. Like for yourself, who was the names that you was hearing, or what was the basketball scene like back then?
That's a good question. I think it's different for girls because my focus was I was kind of involved in everything. Because at school, obviously, me being athletic, and when you're at school, you do all the sports that the PS teachers are like, oh, we're going to this competition, like Ruchae has come on. Yeah. I've never played or like it'd be like not gymnastics, never did that, but athletics. I remember doing cross country, and I'm not doing that. I'm like still what, but because I was one of the most athletic kids, I ended up doing it. I was also at one point playing the French horn at primary school, so I was just doing everything. Yeah,
you was busy, man.
But it's like, when you say the basketball scene in particular, it wasn't like I was super, super involved. I just followed my dad around and wherever his games were. And I do remember the NBA coming. I remember I went to a game, I believe it was San Antonio Spurs, and it was New Jersey Nets at the time when they picked game 2.
Novak,
yeah. I remember that one as a kid, and I was actually helping out. And where are you? I was a child, so I was. It was like an arch. So like, they had a bunch of us kids. Like we made like an arch in front of the O2, and the fans like ran through it.
No,
and I must have been. I can't remember what year that would have been, but I was probably no more than 12, surely. probably like age 10, 11 or 12. I vividly remember that. And that's how I remember the NBA coming to London.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was just a bunch of us kids doing that. Another core memory is when the Olympics were here in London. It was 2012.
Yep.
And then my dad and his really good friend Clive Allen, who's up at Birmingham, big spat basketball.
Nice.
They were running like the NBA house in Covent Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember that there was like a, I guess what would you call it? I don't know, like a workshop or I don't know, NBA house, and they had different activities going on. And I vividly remember that because of the competition. I ended up winning a PS Vita at the time. Those new PSP, touchscreen ones. I remember that vividly, but that's about all the NBA in London I can remember as a kid. Yeah.
So kind of fast forwarding a bit, like even just before we speak about you being the player of the year in 2016,
Yeah.
when was the moment for you, Ruchae, where you felt that you're nice at basketball? Now, when did things start clicking? Like you were like, yeah.
Probably my second year at Charnwood. Because that's my cap. So it's end of year 12 going into year 13. And obviously I obviously made the commitment to basketball when I made the decision from year 11 to go to Charnwood. Anyway, that's obviously a big step up. But when I realized like, okay, I think I can actually go somewhere with this, like why can I not go to the US? Probably about halfway through year 12 with year 13, I'm like, okay, let me, put myself out there and then see if I can get myself a scholarship. So that was probably it. And I mean, it helped obviously winning player of the year at the time. I think that was the first season of WBL, so I guess I was the first ever.
Talk around it. Yep.
Other BBL player of the year. And so yeah, I think, and I mean, it was surreal, like walking in and seeing like the picture of me like advertising like the game in the final. And as a 16-year-old, I was like, wow. Like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, yeah, maybe that stage in my career as a BC of my life.
Right, of course.
Unfortunately, we lost to the incredible Barking Abbey. But still, I think that's when I probably truly realized, like, I can actually be good at this and I can actually take this somewhere. So yeah, it's definitely probably that transition, those 2 years at academy.
What did it feel like? Because you even just touched upon it there. Like, how did it feel like being named the Women's Elite Academy Basketball League Player of the Year, but also a MVP at the Under-17 National School Finals?
It was good. I mean, it felt amazing, but like I almost didn't see myself as that player because I was coming off the bench at Charnwood, and so I was like, oh, I'm not like the kids and I'm not like the starter fire or whatever, but like obviously I gave effort in everything that I did. So I guess being the sixth man, that's what I guess people notice is like, oh, she comes on and she's almost like a starter. It's almost like Charnwood have 6 starters. And they know like, oh, okay, we start the game, but shoot, we still got Ruchae to worry about. Which bend. And so yeah, I mean, it was great. And I do actually remember the under-17 Dynamic Schools final. I think we played Cola. I can remember that. And it was super early to be managed, probably like a 9 a.m., 10 a.m. tip. But I do remember the game. And I do remember bringing MVP actually now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, it's an incredible feeling. It's always nice to feel appreciated and to be able to recognize your talent at the game. So yeah, it definitely was a nice feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think winning both the under-17s and under-19 national school championships is such an incredible achievement, especially at that age. Like, what was the key to your team's success? Now that you think back during that time,
we all bought in. I think that we knew that we had a talented group. And we were like, if we train hard and do the right things, we can be successful. And obviously winning the school championship was still, we did enjoy that, but we really wanted to win in WABL.
Yes.
So the fact that we missed out on that both years I was there, unfortunately, winning Dynamic Schools was like, okay, if we can't win WABL, we have to win something. Like, we have to go get it. So that's where our drive definitely came from. But shout out to my teammates, Anna, Jess, Nicole, Harriet, the lot of them.
Yeah. And this is something that I'm realizing more now with this London elite girls team that I'm coaching. Even just because I teach PE in primary school, it's not just about winning, but losing is a part of every player's journey. And even you said like, coming up short and not making it to the final stage kind of gave you guys extra battery on your back.
Yeah.
What was your early associations to winning and losing at that time, would you say?
Obviously, winning feels good, and at that age, it's hard to digest. So you don't always understand. At that point in life, you think you lose, so this is it. Like you're never gonna come back from this.
Yeah.
And then winning is obviously like this tremendous. But I actually think more growth comes from losing. Because
That's real.
that's how you know your areas to improve. That's how you learn to address the areas that you need to improve.
Right.
I mean, nothing can beat the feeling of winning and being for that. That they do. Yeah.
That's true. And again, you was probably one of the first group of players. If we look at shout out to Azani Stewart, like even back then, you guys were like the first group to be from the UK but play and get a scholarship over in the US. Like for yourself, I think this is super key. Like, what was some of the main contributing factors that made you realize that Portland State was the right school for you?
Okay, so to rewind a little bit, to actually get myself out there and put my name out there, I emailed every single school in the US.
Okay.
Division 1, Division 2.
Yeah.
So I went online, found whatever email I find. Obviously, you hunt for the coach's email, direct email. But I was emailing the athletics department, the AD, the school itself with my highlights and all my credentials. Religiously, like I had a spreadsheet, and it was a science. And then I believed friend of mine, family friend of mine, trying to remember something named Steve.
Okay.
Yeah. When he was doing She's Got Next.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he helped me with the Portland State Connect. And then their coach rang me. I didn't actually get a visit, unfortunately, but the head coach rang me, and we spoke to the family, and he's like, I want to make sure that it's you're comfortable coming this far, because Portland State's on the West Coast, 8-hour time difference.
Yeah.
And make sure that you and your family are comfortable with this decision. This is what we have to offer. These are kind of things that we do. This in school. This in team. This is what it looks like. And actually, Portland State and Portland were my last two. So I was guess I'm going to Portland regardless. And then I ended up going to selecting Portland State. Yeah.
And how did that transition shape you as a player?
From academy to US?
Yeah.
Oh, I definitely, when I knew that I was going to a school, I knew that I was going to be Portland State, the training that I did at Charnwood was like, I have to be the best I could possibly be. So obviously did everything under the sun I could do. I was running extra, I was making sure I was eating right, I was lifting, I was doing injury prevention, everything, because otherwise I need to put myself in the best position to be successful when I get over that. And we also had summer school, so that helped, because then let you have a little less pressure when they're getting you in, you're welcoming you. I was only there for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I actually remember I had to take one of my A levels, and I had my flight out to Portland that night. I was insane. Yeah. And I had to start my test early so I could leave in time to make it to the airport. Yeah, hazies. I flew out that night, and then they welcomed us. They were great. There was four freshmen at the time. But that I guess end of year 13, literally did all the training that I could possibly do. My head coach at the time was Ramesh Patel, and we were locked in. All the individuals, the food, everything.
Wow, man. See, that's something I'm finding out more through pros and former pros like yourself, like the transition from, playing at a high level academy here in the UK, and then you go over to the US where already it's known to have fast pace and athleticism. And even shout out to May, she was saying that she realized just how much, yes, we're playing in a half court setting, but how over in the US, at least at her program, it was more based on individual skill. How can you get to the basket and score? So for yourself, like, because every player's perspective is different.
Yeah.
What was your perspective on the differences from like the UK academy style of play to when you was playing at the college level?
I think that in my situation in particular, I think it was similar in the sense that, in the sense that how we played at Charnwood was kind of how we played at Port State. It was very more like team orientated. it wasn't necessarily one-on-one beat your man to the basket so much. It was that I think we played more as a team. We ran a lot of sets, very structured basketball. But that being said, we came across teams that a little bit more 1v1. For example, here in the UK, the Barking Abbey, they had a aggressive style of play.
Yeah.
And then in the US, when we played teams, particularly on the East Coast, they were very heavy on 1v1 skills, attacking the rim, a little bit more rock and tumble.
Okay.
Whilst I think the West Coast style of basketball over there is a little bit, just a tad more, I feel like structured is the wrong word, because they do play structured basketball.
Yeah.
But just more team orientated, running sets, finding, not obviously, maybe not the first option, but the second and third options, and delving deep into that, to the offensive sets for sure.
Right. And even through that, how would you say, because I think one thing I've even learned through this podcast is playing at D1 and even D2 is a full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm hearing some of the stories, these athletes are telling this, like, coach, like, we gotta wake up, breakfast is already sorted full, then you got the weight room, then you got tape, then you got your studies, then you got to travel, then you got to do extra practice. You really have to love basketball to survive. So how did that experience, Ruchae, grow you, not just physically, but mentally as well?
I had an interesting journey. My first year at Portland State was fantastic. Obviously, the freshman, just soaking up the environment. Any opportunity I got to play the game was, just took it, grabbed it, with then walked to the races.
Yeah.
And I actually got injured at the end of my at the end of my freshman year. I tore my meniscus, so I had surgery in May 2018, and then obviously I redshirted my sophomore year.
Yeah.
I was back healthy in January of what would be my sophomore year, but then coach and I spoke and we decided, I want to give you myself for a full year as opposed to half the season, because if I played, I wouldn't have got that season back.
Yeah.
At that point in the season, because you had time to make the decision then. So yeah, we decided, okay, we'll leave it. I have my extra year. I'll be able to give later on. But now I'm fully back in practices. I'm doing everything. I'm just not playing the game.
Right.
Cool. And okay, then I came home after sophomore year. Obviously had the summer, working out with dad, doing everything I'd usually do. Junior year comes, go back over. Didn't have the junior year I was anticipating. I kind of felt like attitude shifted towards me. And I just became a little bit of a hostile environment, players and staff. I still have a really close group of friends over there.
Yeah.
But some players, I just became a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm like, I'm not sure about this, and I'm just trying to do what I need to do and be the best person I could be. But I felt like I was put in some uncomfortable situations, and then junior year wasn't really playing much. Trying to get individuals and workout scheduled, and it was just you're just an uncomfortable, hostile. Yeah. But I'm like, I don't feel this. Like, I felt like the relationship changed, considering 2 years ago we were cool. Like, freshman, you guys working me out, I had buys, music's on it, the individuals, it's everyone's getting better. But that third year, I'm like, this ain't right. Like, this doesn't feel good.
Sounds off.
Yeah. And then COVID happened anyway, so that was the end of my junior year. So we got sent home from the tournament early, I believe. And then because I'm in the US, but obviously the whole world's shutting down.
Yes, right.
I'm like, shoot, like what happens? Coach sent everyone home, and my teammate, my really good friend now, she was, you just come home with me till we figure out what's going on, because I'm sick COVID. No one knew what was happening.
Yeah,
as it was.
Of course. Yeah.
And I went home to Bellevue, Washington with her, probably for around 10 days and 2 weeks, and we're just watching the world shut down. We're like, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it's
time.
Yeah. And then I spoke to my Spanish teammate at the time. She was a freshman, and she was with one of her freshmen at her family home as well.
Okay.
So I'm like, when are we gonna go home? Like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll call coach and see if we should like fly back home to Europe. Like, obviously go to Spain, I'll go back home to the UK. And she's like, okay, let me know. Obviously, because I was 2 years older than her. So I called coach, and I'm like, what's the best thing to do? Because obviously everyone's home with their family. I don't want to go home and then everything gets cleared up and we come back. And he was like, I actually think it's best you go home. All schools also moved online, so we'll figure out basketball when it's time. I'll figure out basketball.
Yeah.
Cool. So I call my Spanish teammate back. We're like, I'm going home. You can go home too. Coach said it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We figure it out. And then I pack up my things and we go home for that summer. And that was March time.
Okay.
And then March 2020, and then obviously COVID shut the whole world down for 6 months. So then, long story short, we didn't come back to school until September 2020. So I had like 6 months at home, and obviously doing school online again with 8-hour time difference. I'm up at 3 a.m. on my lecture.
Yes, I go on Zoom.
So then senior years now come around. I'm like, I wasn't really excited to go back. I'm like, I didn't have the best junior year. I'm not really excited for just being around in that situation. It's going to be weird anyway with COVID. And then obviously talk to mom. You finish your degree and see where you're at.
Right.
Because obviously now I've got my red shirt year from being injured.
Yeah.
And I've got the COVID year because everyone got the COVID just like.
Wow, man.
So I'm like, okay, so I've got 2 years I could potentially gain and do that again. Completed my studies now senior year. Same kind of thing. Wasn't really playing much. Any opportunity I get, I did the best I could. But again, you just feel like, it's out of rhythm. It's hard to be in that position, especially as an upperclassman when you've got, players way younger than you. I'm not saying they should play, but I just wish I had a little bit more time on court.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really tough, and mentally it was tough. And then going back to obviously what I do now, how passionate I'm about being physically healthy now. I wasn't happy with how I was performing, how I looked, what I was eating, because it just everything was just kind of felt like the world was on my shoulders.
Yeah.
And then I managed to graduate with honors. So that's obviously an incredible achievement for me. Yeah, sure. And the plan was to actually go to a physical therapy school in the US. So I was applying. Yeah. I was applying to a bunch of physical therapy schools. I actually got in to the best school in Florida. Talk about it. Several weeks inside, I actually got in. And to cut a long story short, I was like, obviously I've been on scholarship for 4 years. If I go to grad school, I'm going to have to pay for this. Okay, let me go home, really reassess it. This is something I want to do. I can defer my acceptance for a year.
Okay.
And say, okay, is this something I really want to do? I can go home for a year, get some money just to start me out. So I'm not going in, obviously, because luckily I wasn't making any money.
Right.
I had like some stipend money left over when we went on trips.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't going to have all this money to pay for a graduate program, and also to live and all that kind of stuff. So I came home for the year, my deferral year. That's why I got the internship with London Lions.
Okay.
Yeah. So did the internship. Obviously had an incredible time. We can start some. They'll talk about London Lions as of the day.
But yeah,
that was the reason for me not going back to the US when I got the internship with London Lions. So I never went back. Left the deferral. Left the dreams of going to physical therapy school over there.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just did a great segue just into. I'm honestly, man, I'm so freaking proud of the London Lions, because a bit of a backstory. When I started this podcast, I would have pros from OBCs, and they asked me like at the end of the recording, so coach, like, what's the basketball scene like in the UK? It's growing. It's amazing where it is. But like, I'm hearing like EuroLeague, like they got like Spain, France, Italy, they're all in the like EuroLeague. Like, how come there's no presence for London Lions, or like there's no team? I'm like, not to get political, but there's a certain things that they'll always add up, things of that nature. But to see and that seats that you guys back just killing it, like all-star lineup. I mean, Holly Winterburn. I mean, there's just so many names. I mean, even yourself as well. Like, I am so proud now that we are on the international stage, and the fashion that we did it in is unheard of, So for yourself, like, how did it feel to be a part of the first British team to achieve that milestone?
And this is incredible. It's probably one of the best years of my life. The ups and downs and all of it was insane. And like when we won, that the amount of tears, like the amount of just overwhelming emotion was just, because you just sit back and think about everything that you've gone through.
This is it.
And I could understand a little bit where the players were coming from, because I was actually practicing with the players as well. Coach Stella was like, Ruchae, jump in, and any opportunity, but and also to share the court with players like Henry Belly and Carly Tangos, and it's just I'm like, I'm in practice. What do you mean? But then obviously that aside, like my actual role within the organization, all the ops, obviously communicating with FIBA, organizing the whole thing, because we hosted we hosted the EuroCup. It was all me. And like, thank you so much.
Seriously, I want to have this moment. So thank you.
Yeah.
Genuinely, but it's like, we're going to speak about that more, but honestly, from me to you and the listeners and the fans, thank you, Ruchae.
For sure. No, it was incredible.
That is big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, no, thank you. But all the operations that went on behind that, communicating with FIBA and communicating with the other team. Obviously, they obviously know what they're doing as well, but still welcome them into London. This is where you got to go. This is the bus. This is the food, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, everything that went into it. And then that was obviously the final, I guess, the final hurrah, as you'd say. But everything leading up to that. So all of our travel to our semi-finals, the quarterfinals, everything. Yeah, that was all me. So when like I said, when the buzzer went and we're just like celebrating this, like this all paid off, like the sleepless nights. Like I had a team, I kid you not, the assistant coach is shouting down at the phone at me because the food had messed up and the bus was late. So it's like when you've obviously hired people to do certain roles, and then like when there's other people, I guess, let you down for whatever circumstances.
Yeah.
Bus was so emotional. Like, this is the only person who's gonna call is me because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's what I'm supposed to be leading that. And like, obviously, I've got my team to worry about. I'm making sure that the games are happening, like couple box and everything's set up there. And then I've got assistant coach being like, "Where's the bus?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we're crying on a meet." This was our quarterfinal, I believe, or maybe round two. It was early in the playoff. It was still a playoff game. It was win or go home.
Yeah.
But it was early in the stages. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, I had a game that was like out of a nightmare. Everything went wrong with that.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Oh, he just did terrible. I was like, oh my gosh, the whole world's coming around. Like, what am I going to do? I shoved the cup box smile on my face. Hi, guys. I'm so happy you're here. Anything I can get you? I've got on the walls. Like, instantly. But like, oh, it was one of the game out of like a nightmare. And yeah, just again, going back to that final. When you win and like you actually get the gold medal, it's like, oh my days, like everything I went through this season, and even I went through the hard practices with the players. So it's like we put our blood, sweat, and tears. Every single person in the organization did their people in that season. Honestly,
yeah. Like, what was special about that team from your perspective, and why did they have such a dominant, undefeated season? Like, what was the ingredients that got you guys to that final stage?
I mean, GM Brian Stanovich did an incredible job of recruiting. A lot of British talent as well.
Yes, yeah.
Which is what the team was built off of, which is tremendous. Like, shout out to all the Brits. She did a great job, and then she brought in a Stella head coach in Stella.
Yeah.
She was incredible. And those are, I guess, the ingredients, but then how it kind of molded and formed was just all the hardships that we had to go through and all the challenges that you still face with UK basketball.
Yes.
And all that stuff literally just mixed it all together, and that was the product at the end. You still have the challenges with court bookings.
Yes.
Final against badminton and just gymnastics and everything. Facilities, getting access to facilities, getting people to understand the importance of what we're doing. Travel, even when we're traveling, obviously we're traveling, we're not traveling like private jets or anything, but again, make sure the players feel taken care of. So it's like, okay, extra leg rooms, making sure we're getting food at the hotels when we're arriving at 3 a.m, like those kind of stuff, all those little hurdles. And obviously when we got the news about the pulling of funding, I think that we didn't really need a turning point, but that was almost like, I don't even know what to call it, but it was almost like we just shifted gears after we got that news. And it's like, nothing is going to stop us now, because it's like you could have went one way or the other.
Yeah.
But when we got that news, it was like, yeah, we locked it. If we got one chance at this, we can't afford it.
It is, yeah.
I think that was the mentality of everyone, from the players to the coaching staff to the wider staff.
Yeah.
And who was in like our bubble, our women's tea bubble. Yeah, we were locked in. We were like, yeah, nothing's gonna hold us back now.
Right.
Yeah.
See, and that's just something, again, it's what you guys did, what you did as well, Ruchae. Like, it means so much to UK basketball. It means so much to aspiring players to be like, whoa, like, if I continue on this player path and this player development, this is where I could be, you know. So again, like hats off to you, something that needs to be screened, even this the achievements you guys did, and even just staying on that topic, Ruchae, like what kind of preparation, both mentally and physically, went into reaching that level of excellence?
Me personally,
Mhm.
or I guess me personally, just using all the experience that I'd gained. So my intern year with Lions, that first year when I came back from the US, head coach Mark Clark and me against the world is what it felt like. We didn't have like a big organization or great like back office staff. So yeah, with me and him just figuring it out. And again, that was that weird season where we're trying to get back into live post-COVID.
Yes.
But we still had to like, do all the swab tests like in the nose and all that kind of stuff. When we're trying to travel in Europe as well, you're like, okay, do you get the COVID vaccine? If you didn't, you have to do this step. If you did, you're doing this. Everyone's getting swabbed. Everyone's getting tested. If you go home for Christmas, you got, submit your test at this time or blah. And then, yeah, honestly, just figuring it out as we went. So all that experience is what, and literally me just, I want like a deer in headlights, just trying to put the pieces together. Yes. And it was about February time of my intern year where like the wider Lions organization said, would you like a full-time role? Like you've done tremendously.
Yeah.
We'll give you a full-time role on basketball operations. So all of this knowledge and these experiences and everything just figuring out on the go, I guess that's what led me to be confident in our European year and know what I'm doing is the best I could possibly do, and make sure I put the players on a stage where they can be successful. So take care of everything else so they don't have to worry about it. They know that. They know where they have to be at what time. They know what food they're going to get. They know this is what we're wearing, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think just all the experiences in the past. And obviously when I got the basketball operations role my second year, the organization hired GM Vanya Cernovic. She was an incredible mentor for me as well. So also just listening to her, her experience and her expertise, that also helped me a lot in the 2 years that we had her.
How do you do it, Ruchae? Because I was listening to a recent podcast you was in, and you said like you kind of born, or you come from a background where you're very organizational. How do you, because like being a GM is like I can just about stay calm and composed as a coach, right? Or in my admin, courts, players, team development, skill development. GM is like on a whole nother level, so what is the unseen grind of a GM?
Systems. Once you crack the code for something, and like I make notes as well. So if I'm doing something, let's say I'm trying to give a real life example. Okay, so I did player registrations. For example, I did player registrations like from my intern year. I've always done player registrations. And then when Vanya came, she was like, "Do you know how to do player registrations?" I was like, "Yeah, I've got it. Did it last year." Again, I did it again. And then obviously the federation are changing a bit anyway. So then when they put in new steps or new principles, it's okay, learning that, understanding that, making a note. So when next season comes around, it's just rinse and repeat. So once you do something once, make notes, find what works for you, and then find the best way of being more efficient at that. And then next time it comes around, because basketball is the same, like it doesn't after the season. Once you've done it once, you could do it again if you made the right preparation, you've made the right notes. It is. Because if I wasn't making those notes, for example, registration comes around again, I'm like, shoot, what did I do last? It's just love, and it's like, I'm going to have to finish the players next year and the year after and the year after. So once you understand that system, yeah, you're off for the race. Even yesterday, because I also work with GB men in the 20s, and I was prepping their stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember what I did last year. I was almost so impressed with myself. For like my organization last year, where I kid you not, I copied and pasted like 3 folders over, and I changed the name 24 to 25.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what it's using your experiences to make you more successful in the future.
Yeah, and it's people like yourself and others who really help the game grow, because it's not just about, you can have the best player if they don't have the right club, if they're not registered, if certain things behind the scenes aren't done.
It's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a long,
so again, man, it's important to shed light, because I was even speaking about it. So shout out to Coach Hugh, like he was saying that it's important, especially at the national league level, but like licenses are done in advance registration, booking the court,
Yeah.
because a lot of these girls, they're being introduced to the National League, well, at least in my case, for the first time. So I want it to be as a smooth process as possible, and they're just focusing on the game.
Yeah.
What they kick, that is it.
That's it.
You know, because I mean, there's been some players in the past that's kind of come to me from other houses and have been like, the process wasn't that smooth, and that's kind of jaded their perspective of basketball, you know. So these little details make a big difference, man. And it's even on that, like, just before we speak about just how important injury prevention is and some of the workouts that you do, like, how has this accomplishment with the London Lions women's impacted women's basketball in the UK, but also do you think it's opened you doors for players and teams?
Yeah, for sure. I think that when we were in Europe and we are, you know, we're recruiting pro players and we were playing in Copper Box, a really nice facility.
Yeah.
Our social media was booming. This paved the way for the rest of the SLB, now the SLB at the time, the WBL, to see, okay, these are the kind of things we need to start practicing. Zooming all of our games, trying to have commentary. So I definitely think we paved the way.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances now, obviously we've lost a lot of funding. We're having to rebuild and to kind of reset. And it's a shame because I was like, I had done all this hard work and I'm having to go back on fighting with no money. And it's like, the one revolves around money, let's just be frank. You're straight. It's like trying to do this all and that. And I almost feel like whilst we were ahead of the pack, now I'm like, oh gosh, and like now like I got thrown to the back of the pack and like I'm trying to catch up to everyone. It's a situation right now. I mean, it's fine. It's the way the cookie crumbles, and I'm definitely up for the challenge. But yeah, I definitely think we paved the way. So I think it's just about continuing to use my knowledge and my experiences of being the top and being at the top. Okay, I know what X, Y, and Z look like. Let's rebuild that in a more sustainable way again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And just with regards to your personal insights, like kind of just speaking about the next generation of players, like what advice would you give to younger players who are looking to make their mark in this sport?
What advice I would give? You gotta love it.
Yeah.
You have to love it. You can't do it half-assed. Like you gotta watch the game, and then you have to also watch yourself in the game, and you gotta get in the weight room.
Yeah.
And just work on your craft. Just get in the gym. I work a lot also with Coach Maitland, Gary Maitland as well.
Nice, you know. So yes, yeah.
Coaches high level, and also amateur players, and it's reps. It's practicing game situations and getting realistic game reps up. So when the lights come on, you're prepared.
That's it.
But you have to put in the light. You have to put in the work, and you have to grind when the lights are off, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's no easy way about. Oh, some people have talent, for sure. And if you are the 1%, I'm so happy for you. Take it and rubber. Don't look back.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, you gotta lock in and you have to love it. On the days you're not motivated, you gotta get up and do the same thing as if you are motivated, because those are the days where you make the most progress, for sure.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And because I think there are so many, and this is where I even just came across your Instagram as regards to you prescribing exercises as well. Like, I feel like there's so many Instagram information on how to get a Kyrie hand and how to shoot like a KK. But the injury prevention, mobility, stretching, I think is something that a lot of athletes need to take into consideration, but they can be quite overwhelmed with coach or Ruchae, like, where do I start? For like a player who's not just working on a skill, but perhaps wants to get their foot in the door and is how to treat their body right. Like, where do they start, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I actually posted about it the other day. You can't out-train a bad diet. So there's this right, you gotta start in the kitchen. Yeah, you have to start in the kitchen. Like, you have to, because that's gonna change. When you wake up in the morning, you're gonna feel different already. You're gonna have the motivation or the energy, or not. You're gonna wake up and feel sluggish. You're like, how do I get through this hour and a half workout? Like, how am I going to feel after knowing that I put in the right or the wrong nutrition into my body? So that's definitely the first thing. And then you have to take weightlifting serious. You have to, especially if you're an athlete, you do it in an athletic way where you're still moving fast, you're moving powerful, and you're being agile, because all these little things will add up to make you a better basketball player.
Right.
Once you don't have to worry knowing that if, for example, coach shows you a new move you're like, okay, how can I actually get myself to that position and being able to move my body without being too heavy, without being too stiff, and with actually being agile and actually get myself to the rim.
Yeah.
And you have to prime your body so then when you learn that skill, you're like, okay, this is how I can do it, this is how I can extend my shoulders, this is how my feet are going to work, all of that stuff. And then obviously the basketball side of it, of course.
Right.
But yeah, definitely being more explosive, being stronger with the ball, it all feeds into being a better basketball player for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think especially even for me, I'm just learning how important injury prevention is, that especially when you walk away from the sport, you still want to be able to get up and out going. So like for yourself, because you came from having an injury in your previous years played to now, like what are some tips or even exercises that you still do now that keep you loose, make sure you got good ankle mobility, mobility? Like what are some of the things that an athlete needs to look out for just so that they don't injure themselves?
Yeah. I guess so. With my page, just to be clear, I've shared a lot of my journey. So obviously I've done a lot of, now it's like post athlete, like post competition, what I do to stay active and still kind of keep my edge. But with people who are still playing, what they can do, it's not even always like the big massive like movement. Sometimes it's just like the little intricate things. So it's like getting the band around your ankle and doing all your anaerobic mobility.
Yeah.
It's the stretching at night. It's using the foam roller. It's using the massage gun.
Yeah.
It's about even doing some yoga and just staying loose. It's about having the warm showers and just making sure your body's nice and loose. Obviously cold plunges are great for sure. Don't get me wrong, but also just making sure the body can move and doing all your hip mobility, and it's doing it consistently. You can't just do it one day and be like, oh yeah, I'm good. No. It's an everyday thing, right? Or it's 6 days a week. It's consistency. It's not just sporadic. And consistency is not necessarily perfect, but consistency is consistent. So it's like you can rely on someone doing their mobility 6 days of the week, and like that's going to change everything. And yeah, it's not necessarily going in the gym and lifting crazy weights on squats every day. It's not about that. It's about, again, finding the balance, finding what works for you, but being consistent at what you do.
Right.
And then, especially me now where I'm at post competition, I still like to challenge myself. So I don't have a game at the weekends where I have to get myself mentally ready for, but I'm like, and that would be challenge sport. But what can I do weekly to improve where I'm at physically, and what challenges can I make for myself that will still get me up and motivated to want to work out and better my body.
Yeah. And just before we get into the final segment, which I like to call the Beyond the Game segment, like you wear so many hats, Ruchae, and I can tell your mind is away from, because this is something that I actually learned during COVID, like when basketball, I couldn't watch our NBA. I was like, okay, I can't watch basketball. Okay, let me play some basketball. Okay, now you're playing basketball. Let me read a book about basketball. Okay, I've read all the books.
What next?
What next? And that was the first time where I kind of took off my Coach D hat. I was like, no, what does Demetrius like to do? Let me watch a movie on Netflix. Let me get back into anime. Let me get back into drawing or media or filming.
Yeah.
It took a minute it took basketball being taken away from me to realize who I am as a person. I was like that.
Yeah.
So for yourself, Ruchae, like, how do you stay grounded, and what do you do away from basketball that just keeps you sane, like your mental is there, so that when you go back into that role of a GM or coach, you're like sweated already?
It's a really good question. I actually think so my personal training, whilst it stems from basketball and my passion for exercise, that helps me switch off a little bit from the basketball side of things, because that's something for me.
Yeah.
I GM, what's a GM for me? I GM for the ladies. I GM for the team. I GM for the coach. I GM for the organization. I GM for the London Lions, and I GM for basketball in Britain. But when I do personal training, like this is, I'm really passionate about this. In addition, I'm still passionate about basketball, for sure. Like that's my life now. But I'm also really passionate about personal training. So I think that's something for me. And again, just learning new skills with that, editing videos and gaining confidence to talk on camera and share a story and share value with my followers. Those are things that help me switch off. I really enjoy cooking anyway. So again, that helps. And that again ties into personal training because I enjoy cooking healthy foods, trying something new. But to really switch off, I love to sit up at the TV. Listen, I love me a movie. I love me a TV series or something. I love watching TV. Oh, my days. I love watching TV, man. And I'm like, so I just like to dive into a whole new world that I might not be exposed to. And dive into someone's story.
Yeah.
And I've been recently really liking sports documentaries. Obviously, the Quarter Goal came out last night.
I haven't seen that yet. Okay. So now I'm dead. That is interesting. Yeah.
I read it one episode last night. And part of me wants to binge it, but part of me wants to be like, just rest it and let it like digest. So maybe I take my time with it. But then that being said, I still like, I'm really watching this stupid comedy on Netflix, Superstore. It's so dumb, but like, it's just so funny. But it's just it's a world that I'm just not into. I'm not a part of. So just diving into another story. But yeah, no, I love movies. I love TV. I also have a Nintendo Switch, which I enjoy playing.
Same. Love that. Let's go. Love that.
I do enjoy playing my Nintendo Switch. Yeah. It's more fun with someone else.
Yeah.
I'm having some difficulty with Mario Kart at the moment. I'm gonna get find my edge back soon for sure. I'm gonna find my edge back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so whilst I enjoy that, I do really enjoy watching TV. Keep it simple. Just keep it real. I can't watch TV and you should be out in yoga, meditating on the bar. But yeah, let's just watch TV.
I'm super curious as we come towards the end of the podcast now. This first one, this could go the basketball route or life, but I'm intrigued to get your mind on this, Ruchae. Like, what would you say is a skill that is taught by many, but only mastered by a few?
Time management.
How do you mean that?
I think
that was quick too.
Yeah, I'll be sitting now, like locked in. I think his time is the most valuable thing. Is that you need time to do everything that you need to do. And when you get caught up, things get left behind or things get neglected, and you have to be able to divvy up your time and obviously prioritize. And some things are always going to be more important than others. And also some things have certain pressures and time pressures that it needs to get done by and certain deadlines. And I think once people crack that and unlock that, it's going to be way more efficient. And it gives you you have time to work, and you have time to relax, and you have time to really unwind and you find time for sleep and find time to, prepare your food or all that kind of stuff. Once you section out, I'm not saying you have to be like super OCD and plan out every single minute of your day, but when for example, obviously I'm on my computer a lot. I am on my computer a lot. Okay, I've got 3 hours of deep work. No distractions, no phone, nothing. I'm locked in. What can I get done in 3 hours? But moreover, you'll be mind blown. But if you sit at the laptop and you've got the TV on in the background, you've got the phone, you're gonna be sat there for 6 hours. I'm doing that. Look, because I got a movie I want to watch tonight. So it's like when I manage my time, and when people manage their time, it'll blow your mind the amount of stuff that you can get done. And just understand that time is so valuable. Whether it's with loved ones, doing your work, going to work, even time just traveling and commuting, and how you can make the most of your time. I think that's definitely it's a really important skill. And it gets to the stage in life, so you have to be a little bit selfish. Social, yeah, because you're just gonna get dragged into so many different things, and like, I can't afford to sit here for 2 hours and listen to someone random when I've got stuff that I need to do. Right. And obviously have time for social, of course. And it's like, just because that's part of the balance as well. So just understanding that. And like I said, it's not about every single minute, where am I going to be, what am I going to do? But prioritizing things that need to get done first, and then finding time for your enjoyment and your relaxation later.
Time management. Love that.
For sure.
Love that. The next three. The best piece of advice you ever received?
That's a good one. It's in my head. I've got it in my head now. I need to try and word it properly, because I understand it, but I want to say it where you can understand it. Okay. Basically, Get yourself in the room. So do the right thing to get in the room, but then you have to continue to do the right thing to stay there. So to get yourself an opportunity,
Yeah.
but how can I now make the most of this opportunity? What value can I bring? What value can I add to make sure that no one's kicking me out of this room? That's probably the best piece of that, because it gets you thinking. It's not someone not just telling you what to do, but it's like, okay, when you look at yourself and like, what can I actually do to make sure that I am successful in this situation?
Yeah.
I think that's so easy to say. Yeah.
I like that one. I like that one. Final two. This next one is you got to fill in the blank in the sentence. So if it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learnt filling the blank about myself.
How resilient I can be. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and I feel like just you spoke about that Better Soul podcast, just the resilience that you have, even from early, before you being a G and those challenges at the colleges, and you still stuck it out and was able to adapt. So it's cool.
Worker's got to work.
That's
It's got to work, or it's got to work. It's not going to be stagnant. We're going to find a way.
final one. I'm gonna paint the picture. So you got a girl who's heard that you just wrote a book, and she's gone to her nearest Waterstones, and she's got a bag on, and she goes to the library. She's like, "Yeah, do you know where the new book from Ruchae Walton is?" "Oh yeah, you go up the stairs, turn left. If you go to bestseller sports section, you can't miss it." So she's going up the stairs now with her bag, and she's looking for you see the sports section, and she sees your book at the top. Obviously, she's like 6'8", she just gets it with ease. It looks like sees a country. She looks at the book, Ruchae, and the question now is, what would the title of your autobiography be?
Oh my day. You should have texted me last night. Title of my autobiography.
Statements, I read it, please.
Yeah, you might have to click this one.
Yes.
The title. Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question.
Because you've had so many amazing experiences.
Yeah, man.
Ups and downs, trials and tribulations, like.
This is so quick fire. I wish I did research stuff. But something about kind of just like being a jack of all trades. So like just diversifying like your portfolio, and you put your effort into to everything that you do, not just one thing. I think especially as a woman in sports, and someone who's just experienced so much in sports and also away from sports, it's just finding different things that you can be successful at, and that you enjoy doing. And then the other one that was in my head was probably something along the lines of what was it, almost like finding a way to get it done, and understanding that your path doesn't have to look like everyone else's path.
Yeah.
But once you find a way to make steps in a positive direction, you can't lose.
It's honestly, this has been this has been an honor to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
People like yourself, London Lions, and just basketball in general, what you guys are doing for UK basketball, it's great to speak with players like yourself, because you have such an in-depth understanding of the game, not just from a place better, but from a GM. You know the behind the scenes, you know how to get a club from zero to where it is and things of that nature. So honestly, man, I know for the listeners, it's been an absolute treat. For those who just want to follow your journey, they want to follow London Lions, don't worry, guys. The link will be in the description, but just with regards to the socials, where can they find you?
You can find me on my training page, so at @rwtraining_. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me in comment. I'm on TikTok too. You can find me, and then you can follow our journey with London Lions at London Lions W as well. We're on Twitter and on Facebook too.
Absolutely, absolutely, listeners. This is Coach D, and the new author of our book, Ruchae Walton, signing out.
Thank you guys so much. Take care.